Hey there, sport. I heard your deck got hit on the ban list and you were pretty upset about that. I'm sorry to hear that, big guy, but I think I've found some builds of the most recent top decks that got hit on the limit list, so we can maybe see if there isn't something playable for you to take to rank this season, huh? All right, let's take a look at what was the best deck of the past format, Mech Knight. This was my, of course, preferred way to play the deck, Mech Nightmare with Ibli as the normal summon, and Mech Knight Avram. This is how I would play the deck. You basically just cut, the one blue sky, one memory for the best non-limited cards you can. Book of Moon can be set going first or activated going second to stop any major plays that would prevent you from doing anything. You can't play this anymore, so you're playing 3 Book of Moon. I forgot to take that out as well. So this is what I'd be playing. I got 5 normal summons and 20 cards, good chance to open them. The only thing that sucks is if your normal summon is Avram and you open Blue Sky, you're never going to get your Blue Sky search over the course of the game unless you can banish it with Yellow Star and add it back off key, which is huge. People were saying Mech Knight barely got touched. No, this hit is huge. If you open your Blue Sky and Avram, you never get to search off Blue Sky, meaning you're only going to be going even with your searches rather than plussing yourself in a deck that won largely because of its card advantage game. Exact same extra deck as before, since we didn't lose anything crazy. These didn't get limited, but that is that. We also have another build of Mech Knight that I think is actually better now that there are fewer playable Mech Knights to play. Here we have Mech Knight Code Talker, a playable deck before the list, actually doing quite well in tournaments. And I think there's an argument to take a more serious look at it now that the deck has lost both access to 1 to 2 copies of its most playable monster, as well as 1 to 2 copies of the, or even 1 to 3 copies of the quick play spell that locked you into Mech Knights. You could potentially cut these cards. I don't think you would. Maybe you could go to 1 and play 2 Blue Sky, because this is a little less important in this deck. But the idea is if you lost 2 copies of your +1 Mech Knight, you just play a +1 normal summon in Lady Debug. There are many search spells, and you perhaps not even need to run these Signet Minings to find them, which means you have more space for cards like Cosmic Cyclone or Back Row Hate. I'd probably play 2 Cosmic and 3 Book, since we have Signet Crosswipe as sort of MST at home. That is what I would be looking at for Mech Knight Code Talk or something like this. You could even cut down on Ibli since it is searchable, but I don't think you would really want to search Ibli, which is another reason why you would cut Signet Mining. You would basically be, you just have 5 Cybers normal summons that do different things. Both of them set you up a column. Ibli sets you up a Blue Sky column, and Debug sets you up a Purple Nightfall column to search in Indigo. Not playing Key because this version is supposed to be much more aggro, with Decode Talker into Shooting Code off the Code Talker Alive skill. Of course, we're playing 1 Link Disciple, and since we don't have to play another Link 1, we're playing Code Talker, so we can search and cross-swipe to make additional columns, as well as set Disruption. And then we have, of course, the 1 Morning Star, 1 Decode Talker, 1 Shooting Code Talker, and the Galaxy Eyes Suite. If on the next ban list, these just go to 3, but nothing in the Cybers package takes a hit, I honestly think Code Talker Mech Knights is the best Mech Knight deck to play, because if you cut this, you get to make room for more links like Nightmare Phoenix, Nightmare Unicorn, Nightmare Cerberus, Security Dragon for use with Shooting Code and Code Talker. There's just a lot of flexibility this deck has if it loses access to the Galaxy Eyes package, or you just don't want to play the Galaxy Eyes package because you don't own it. If you do not own these Rank 8 cards, I think Code Talker Mech Knight is the only Mech Knight list you personally should be considering. On to the deck that got hit the hardest. We are on 3FX Goki. 3FX first, I wanted to show off, just because you can still play the whole gain a ton of life points build so you don't die. We've swapped out 1 Suprex and Finishing Move for Expendable Die, which decks we're already playing. I think this card sucks, but it is good enough. It does trigger your Gokis. So since you're less likely to draw Suprex, you could perhaps draw a Goki that you contribute with Die to search Suprex, so you don't have to hard open it as much. I think it is way worse than it was. I really just wish they put Finishing Move to 1. Why can't we play 3 Goki? The deck already bricked to hell and back. Jesus. We're playing the same extra deck as last time because we've only lost our consistency with starting. We haven't lost our ability to make the turn 1 combo of Master Ogre pointing to 2 guys into follow-up Jet Ogre into Great Ogre. The difference is we're not going to be finishing move to kill them. We're going to have to find a way to get a Twist Cobra out to kill them, which is obviously going to be very difficult. We still have our 3 tech spots. Security Dragon for Jet Ogre plays, and Nightmare Phoenix and Unicorn for removal. This is what 3FX Goki is going to look like, I think, after the nerfs. We are, of course, switching our Limit 3 traps to Book of Moon. For the first time, I'm going to be showing off a Gore build of Goki. This is a sort of weird build. I think you could either be playing 0 Scorpio or 3 because you want as little extra cards in your deck as possible. I think Scorpio isn't super great, so I wouldn't want to max on it. So I'm choosing to play 0 and just have 1 added to my deck, along with a Suprex for 22 cards. We are maxing out on Twist Cobra because the main event Goki adds 1 copy each of Suprex, Twist Cobra, and Rescorpio, and we really want our odds to draw Suprex as high as possible. So we would rather be playing a 22-card deck than a 23-card deck, hence why we have maxed Twist Cobra and cut the Rescorpio for it. 3 Headbat still, 1 Iron Claw, 1 Octo Stretch, 1 Rematch, our 3 limit cards here, 1 Reinforcement of the Army to allow us to play 4 Suprex in a 22-card deck, 3 MST or Cosmic, whichever you prefer, 3 Book of Moon as a flexible going first and second card, and Expendable Die as just, if we want to play old school Goki, I guess we can. Man, it's so lame that this is just another awful control deck now. Same extra deck as the 3FX build because 3FX doesn't help you combo harder than this build does, meaning we can do the exact same combos and should be playing the exact same extra deck. Your flex spots are these 3 cards, but I think Security Dragon combos so well with Jet Ogre, you should be playing it. Nightmare Phoenix is sort of mandatory, and Nightmare Unicorn is the best Link 3 to climb into off of Phoenix. That is main event Gokis. If I do a showcase on Goki after the ban list update, I'll probably show off this version of the deck. And just because I forgot to mention it beforehand, I just think you should be playing 2 Pot of Duality, maybe 3 if you want to, but 2 is fine, to replace the Void Vanishment you lost. No real reason to go up on Seer because it's kind of a nothing card. Your best use is to, of course, send it with Void Feast or activate Void Seer and then send it with Void Feast. I think this is what a good Noid list would look like. Mess around with maybe the amount of Seismitos, Petralia, and Harmodic you run, but I think 2 of the lower level ones is what most people recommend. Extra deck is whatever you want it to be because Noids mostly use the main. This is what I expect Noids to be playing, and I think it'll be good if Salamangreat are the best deck because this deck has a hugely advantageous matchup. And last up on the list here is Salamangreat playing Rise from the Valley of Haze. I have here a pre-nerf 20-card list to showcase just how little the deck actually got hurt. People are freaking out about the deck getting slaughtered. I promise you, going from 9 copies of Salamangreat Gazelle to 7 copies is going to be just fine. What are we going to replace Gazelle with? Well, obviously it's going to be the best non-limit traps and spells in the game. A lot of people were already playing Needle Sealing. Now you can fit 2 copies in quite nicely. Now you can also play Dark Hole, a card that is easier to obtain but also just as strong as Needle Sealing because it has applications when you go second as well as first. You can just put your own Balinks in the graveyard as you go through your combos and then Dark Hole on your second turn, and that is pretty powerful. Let's say you want more going first options. Book of Moon is perfect as a sort of flexible going first, going second card. You would not be wrong for playing it over Debug. Lastly, a card I want to point out, you already know my favorite hand trap in the game, DD Crow. All of these are absolutely perfect staples to fit in your deck over Debug. You are still going to have 7 out of 20 cards be Gazelle, as well as a normal summon that gets you as far as you need to go. Additionally, if you don't think that's enough consistency, you can play 3 Foxy instead of those staples. Additionally, out of the new box, I don't think Crusadia or Raid Raptors are particularly powerful, but Salamangreat gets access code Talker at home. 2+ monsters accept tokens. Very easy to do. You can target 1 Link monster in either graveyard. This card gains attack equal to that target's attack until the end of this turn. You contribute any number of your monsters this card points to, destroy an equal number of cards on the field. This does not target, and Just so happens that this deck also gets access to Update Jammer. So if you decide that you're not going to play any rank 4s, you can cut the extra copies of Foul to play 2 copies of Book of Moon, 2 copies of DD Crow, 2 copies of Needle Sealing, 2 copies of Darkhold, whatever you personally want to play, and have all the aggro potential you need to make Update Jammer into Raster Liger, because this deck is so easy to spam monsters onto the field. If you're not going to use your Salamangreat Foxy search effect because you open Foxy plus Circle, which is very easy to do, or Foxy plus Mining, you can revive Foxy at the end of your combos so that Raster Liger points to it, tribute it, remove a problematic monster, target Update Jammer, Raster Liger becomes 4,000 attack and will attack twice for a potential 8,000 damage push. I think barring Crusadia or Raid Raptors being way better than people are expecting them to be, or old rogue decks massively overperforming, stuff like BA or Phantom Knights or DDD, for example, if those rogue decks come in force after these limits, we might be looking at something a little different. But barring anything incredibly unexpected, I personally expect Salamangreat to be the best deck in the format, and Infernoids and Mech Knights to sort of hold on to contention, solely because I believe both of those decks have a very strong Salamangreat matchup. Salamangreat, of course, very much struggles with removing big bodies from the field multiple times, and while Update Jammer Raster Liger helps with that, it might even help enough to put Mech Knights completely down, but if not, Mech Knights will be around as they have a positive Salad matchup. And Infernoids, of course, having a very positive Salamangreat matchup, will be hanging around as well. But I expect what is and isn't good in the format to be consolidated entirely around what beats or holds its own against Salamangreat. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. If you did enjoy it, please do consider leaving it a like, subscribing to the channel to keep up with future uploads, as well as leaving a comment. Comments, I think, are the most important for the algorithm, and I really do appreciate it when people let me know what they thought of my videos, and I try to respond to as many as I can. If you liked this video and would like to see me play Duel Links as well as other games live on stream, I stream Duel Links relatively often, as well as Pokemon Unite and other variety games on my Twitch page, twitch.tv/SkepticalSnivy, which you can find in the video's description. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you when I see you next time. Mwah!